Yo, welcome to the show. It's Boston's Banter with Frank the Bank and Keith K. Lava. You know the answer. Talking sports, breaking down the play so raw. From the Celtics to the Sox, we giving you the score. Catch the vibe, we coming live. Filling up your feed, let the passion thrive. Every dunk, every run, we analyze the moves. Shout out to the fans, feel the rhythm and grooves. From Gillette to the Garden, we ain't missing a beat. Frank and K. Lava bring the fire, can't accept defeat.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Boston's Banter, where the sports are wicked and the banter is Pissah. I'm your host, Frank the Bank. With me, as always, is Keith K. Lava Lacava. What's going on, Brose Canseco?
Nothing much, Joe Burbro.
Burbro, I like it. I do like it. We don't have a big show today, kind of a short show, but let's jump right into the Wicked Pissah news.
Yes, sir, Frankie. We're going to start with some more notable NBA moves from this past week.
That's some.
So the Spurs signed big man Victor Wembanyama to a 5-year, $252 million maximum rookie scale contract extension. Now, mind you, Frankie, entering his 4th season in already All-NBA, Defensive Player of the Year, and he helped obviously lead the Spurs to the finals last year. The Spurs want him locked up for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
The Jazz actually signed big man Mo Bamba to a 2-year deal. Now, after being the 6th overall pick to the Magic in the 2018 NBA draft, he's been shipped around the league playing for 7 teams.
He hasn't done much.
And he was even on a pair of 10-day contracts with Utah last season, so we'll see how he does this year. Obviously, they wanted to bring him back, and especially it's on a 2-year deal this time.
Why not?
The Knicks re-signed Jordan Clarkson to a 1-year, $3.9 million deal. You know, he's a good piece coming off the bench.
Not bad. Yeah,
veteran presence.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And the Bucks, they re-signed guard Gary Trent Jr. to a 4-year, $64 million deal.
Not bad.
Well, Frankie, actually, in other NBA news, we got a pair of former teammates that were actually brawling, getting into a fight in Las Vegas during the Summer League.
This is crazy.
We got to break this down real quick. Apparently, Heat big man Bam Adebayo punched his former Heat teammate Tyler Herro in the face, who obviously now plays for the Bucks after the Giannis trade. This all went down at a Las Vegas hotel practice court, and the reason behind it is supposedly Herro made comments on social media criticizing Adebayo's defensive tendencies. Adebayo approached Herro, some words were exchanged, and then it turned physical. It's also being reported that this altercation happened in front of Herro's AAU team. Got some real bad blood brewing between Miami and Milwaukee. Regardless of that trade, there's actually a pic circulating, and here it is right here online, that kind of shows Herro's swollen eye after the incident. Adebayo is a big dude. It could have looked way worse. You know what I mean?
Man. He's like double the size of Herro.
And if it just looks like that, like we saw the pic, man, it could have looked way worse, bro.
That's crazy, honestly.
So, ironically, the Heat and the Bucks, they were playing each other in the Summer League around that time, and Herro was interviewed during the game where he said, "It's all love in Miami, but, you know, that's a crock of shit."
He's mad as hell.
And then when they actually brought up to him the supposed altercation and everything, he said no comment, of course.
Crazy.
Hey, Frankie, let's break down those Red Sox, brother.
Oh, my gosh. They're killing it right now,
what is the hottest team in baseball?
It's not even close. I mean, they're 14-2 in the last 16. Of course, right now we have the All-Star break, right when we get as hot as we are.
9-game win streak.
9-game, all on the road. First time since 1977 that's happened. That's unbelievable.
3 straight series sweeps, too.
It's crazy. So, and it's like, it's kind of unfortunate to go on the All-Star break when you're this hot.
That's what I'm saying.
Because you see, like, either teams do the opposite where they cool off, or if they are cool going in the All-Star break, sometimes they needed a break. But unfortunately, I don't like to see that, honestly, because we've been killing it. Dude.
Killing it, bro.
It's unbelievable. So we're 46 and 48. We're actually jumped up to 3rd in the AL East right now. And the Rays are actually in 1st, not the Yankees. So that's kind of cool, too. But we're 10 back of the Rays, not the Yankees, for 1st place. But
half a game out of the wild card, too.
It's crazy, dude. Honestly, they could make the playoffs. I mean, honestly, there's been a lot of teams this year that haven't been as good as they thought they were going to be. So going on a 14-2 run and a 9-0 straight on the road like that, I mean, talk about crazy. I mean, again, since 1977, it hasn't happened for the Sox, so it's kind of crazy. But 8-1 win over the White Sox, 5-0 win over the White Sox, 2-1 win over the White Sox. So, I mean, you only gave up 2 runs in 3 games against the White Sox. You like that?
Absolutely.
Then you go to the Mets, 6-2 win over the Mets, 4-0 win over the Mets, and then a 3-2 win, down 2 going into the 9th. We tie it up. We win it in extras. That was a huge game. But again, if you look at those 6 games from this past week, dude, you only gave up 6 runs. Total.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's like unreal. And our pitching has been, we talked about the pitching
phenomenal
for the last couple of weeks, has been unbelievable.
Yes, sir.
So it's like now if we can get some bats going, I mean, a lot of these 6, 5, 8, 4, 3-2 you don't like to see, but anything 4, 5, and more, that's what you want to see. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So they've been really hot. Honestly, it's good to see.
Killing it, bro.
Again, I hope the All-Star break doesn't cool them off, because you just want to see them, just keep going at it, and it could be a great turnaround for the season. Honestly,
Right. Absolutely, Frankie.
And that's all we got for the Wicked Pissah news.
No NFL news today, brother.
Nothing.
But we're gonna get into lava round with that.
Let's go. Again, short episode, short Wicked Pissah news. Let's jump into the lava round. We got fantasy players to avoid this week. We're going to do 1 quarterback, 2 wide receivers, 1 running back, and 1 tight end, 1 defense. So
yes, sir.
Why don't we jump right into quarterback? Who do you not like this year, or in terms of where they're going drafted-wise?
Right.
I know you might like the guy, but he's kind of going too high. What do you got?
So, Frank, I know this guy's actually going to get drafted in 100% of leagues, but somebody that I'm going to avoid, considering where his ADP is Chiefs quarterback Pat Mahomes.
Wow, okay.
So regardless of the fact he is coming off a major injury with the torn ACL and LCL late last season, the Chiefs' offensive scheme is changing as well.
Yep.
Chiefs are shifting toward a more balanced run-heavy attack, which when Mahomes returns from injury will reduce his pass volume and scoring upside. Also, his numbers have regressed the last few seasons, including having deep ball struggles. He hasn't topped 30-plus touchdowns the last 3 seasons, and even in 14 games last season before the injury, he only threw 22 touchdowns. Turnovers have been an issue for Mahomes as well, having 11-plus interceptions the last 5 seasons, and Mahomes currently has an ADP of 96 and is listed as the QB 11 on Yahoo Fantasy, so it's obvious Mahomes will get taken by those going QB late, obviously, like I was just talking about. He's going to get taken.
Of course he's going to.
But I wouldn't grab him earlier than round 9, Frankie.
I like that. I'm actually going Jalen Hurts. I like Jalen Hurts a lot. I always have. I've been a big fan of his. But he's on his 11th offensive coordinator, including his college years. I mean, you think about how long he's been in the NFL and like his college years. I mean, it's almost 1 a year.
I know.
It's kind of crazy. So he's on his 11th. You don't know what it's going to look like yet. He lost AJ Brown, right? So at some point you think, one, he's not going to, the tush push, will it get banned? Who knows? But people are starting to learn how to stop it. One, the offensive coordinator might be giving those balls to Barkley now versus letting him run every 1-yard touchdown in.
Right.
And again, losing A.J. Brown is huge. So I feel like he's going to be good, but he's currently going in like the 6th round. Like 69th overall is roughly his ADP in most leagues. So it's like, I'm trying to fall back a little bit on that. I mean, maybe if you get him in the 8th or 9th, then it's starting to look a little better because you don't know what the offense is going to look like. And that's kind of scary. And again, if his rushing goes down, his fantasy value goes way down because he's like way towards the back for passing yards and passing touchdowns. So that's why I'm kind of avoiding him this year. I usually like to take him, but I am going to actually
had him last year in your league. I'd trade for Drake May, bro.
I'm saying he's not a bad fantasy guy when he's getting the rushing upside. But if the new OC is like, you know what, we don't want to get you hurt, we're going to give it to Barkley. Why, we have this great back here. Why not? So again, till you see what it's like, you gotta, kind of give it some thought there in terms of rounds. Like, 69th overall. I mean, it's kind of high for me. And get your mind out of the gutter too. By the way, 69. Anyways, why don't we move on to running back? Who you got at running back?
Yeah, so Frankie, this dude's actually probably gonna go late first, maybe early second, but I could still see him going in the first. But I'm gonna try to let Dolphins running back Devon Achane slide.
I've seen a lot of people letting him slide a little bit.
So I'm not a fan of anybody on Miami's roster this year. Like I said, I could see them going 0-17. Yeah. Achane currently has an ADP of 13 on Yahoo, and it is projected late first, early second. And with that value, it makes me nervous, Frankie. I'm not going to lie. He will be heavily relied upon, but with a new quarterback at the helm in Malik Willis, who tends to scramble more and push the ball downfield, which could negatively impact his PPR value on checkdowns, which obviously Achane excels at. The Dolphins also have the weakest wide receiver room in the NFL this season, which would allow opposing defenses to stack the box and limit his.
Of course,
that's what I'm saying, and limit his big playability. And in a struggling offense, his touchdown upside could take a hit. Mind you, Achane with his lighter build at 5'9", 191 pounds, and having he's already dealt with calf and rib issues. That raises
concern. They can't overuse him. He's a smaller guy.
That's what
he was one of the guys that was right up there with you. So,
and considering how much he will be relied upon, I mean, not saying he won't make plays. I just think things are going to be really tough on Miami's offense this season, and Achane as well.
I like that too. I mean, I'm not taking him the first time. If he's there late second, then you got to obviously think about it. He's going to get checkdowns, but not as many. And Malik's going to steal some touchdowns and some rushing.
That's what I'm saying, it's like, bro. Tua wasn't doing that with all his concussions. Malik Willis is going to be prone to run more.
And like if they overuse this kid, he's gonna get hurt. I mean, and they don't have a lot going on. They're gonna be one of the worst teams in the NFL, Absolutely. In my opinion, too. So I agree there. I'm actually going a guy I love. I had him last year. He was phenomenal last year for me, but it's Travis Etienne.
Okay.
So it's like he's going third, fourth round right now, roughly, and it's like
crowded backfield.
It's a crowded backfield. I love Kamara too. They're both unbelievable fantasy over the years, right? Absolutely. Especially the last couple for Etienne, especially this last year for Etienne. It was his best fantasy year, but it's like if you think about what it's going to look like, it's like they both can't be top running backs, right?
No, they can't.
So they're both going to be what? RB2, fringe RB2 running backs, if you look at it. I mean, it's like Kamara, who's even the starter right now? It looks like probably Etienne, but Kamara's going to be out there. He can catch the ball better than any back. So it's like you're going to eat away from Etienne's catches by having Kamara out there in a lot of third downs. If they're doing split backfield, that's cool. But again, it's going to be one of those situations like which back is it going to be this week? You know, it's not going to be as consistent. So like I'm not taking him in the third or fourth round. I'm going to let him slide and go from there. And the same thing with Kamara. Kamara, again, getting picked fairly high, but it's like that's almost like a 2-for-1. You got to really be careful on grabbing somebody like that. It's not like you're hoping somebody gets hurt, but from a fantasy perspective, that's kind of what you want. You want to have one back. You know what I mean? You don't want to have two guys that are going to be 49 and 51% of the time out there because they're interchangeable. We talked about how silly of a signing we thought that was for the Saints. It's like you already have a franchise running back.
And I predicted it too because it was his hometown team. But again, it is going to be a 50-50 split with both those guys.
That's what I mean. So that's why I'm going ETN here. I'm going to let him slide past the third or fourth round at least.
I like that.
So why don't we go with your first receiver?
So my first receiver, Frankie, and I love this kid too, but just right now, the whole situation with the team and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say you got to let Jets wide receiver Garrett Wilson slide.
Okay.
So like I said, hate to say because I love Wilson's skill set.
Oh, he's good. He's
started his career with 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, mind you, with inconsistent quarterback play. But last season took a dip, only playing in 7 games due to a knee injury, and now dealing with a lingering knee issue and more inconsistent play. Mind you, they got Geno Smith back. Doesn't make fantasy managers any more comfortable.
No, I mean, is he slightly better? Probably, but he's not anything special still.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? He's not, anybody special.
His current ADP at 35-2 makes it more of a reach in the early third. And even more concerning, there will be increased target competition considering the Jets drafted wide receiver Omar Cooper Jr. and tight end Kenyon Sadiq. If you can get a steal for Wilson later than the third, you have to jump at that opportunity. The kid can ball, but there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding him and the Jets this year. Again, hate to say it because I'm a big fan of Wilson, man. But yeah, I think you got to let him slide this year.
I like that. I can hear that. I'm going to go with CD Lamb.
So
he's one of my favorites. Okay. Like, he's unreal. But if you think about what's going on in Dallas, like, it's like, are you going to take him in the second round where he's going? Again, if you're in deeper leagues, it might be a first round, but he's pretty much going in the second round. It's like, you look at like what he's done over the last 3 years. He's had declining yards and declining touchdowns. I know he got hurt last year, but let's just talk about like what George Pickens brings to the table. So it's like when they played together, it was like 11 of the games, George Pickens outplayed him. So it was kind of like one of those things like, what do you do? So it's like if you look at from average for CeeDee Lamb in 11 games, he averaged about 78 yards on 5.4 catches a game. That was his average, 14.8 fantasy points in a standard league setting, okay?
Right.
Pickens, over the course of last year, had 6 catches on average and 94 yards a game and 18.1 fantasy points a game on average. So it's like, why would you take CeeDee Lamb over Pickens? And like, again, that could be another numbers. Yeah, you still have another situation where like, who's going to go off this week?
Right.
And if you look at CeeDee Lamb's drop rate, it was one of the worst in the league. I think he was second or third worst drop percentage rate in the league. Pickens had a 20.9% target share and a 30.5% air yard share for Dallas last year. So, I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, it's like CeeDee's going before Pickens, but is it like, are you getting more value with Pickens? I think you are.
Right.
So it's like, again, I know CeeDee missed, 6 games last year or whatever it was, but at the end of the day, like if you look at their averages, it's like you're going to spend a higher pick on CeeDee, but Pickens outplayed him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that to me is tough. Anybody you can get where they fall, if they fall, great. You're getting value, great. But you got to really take a look at the ADP to see where the value is. So.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, too. CD is a baller, as we know and everything, but it's getting to be that situation, too, where it looks like George Pickens is taking the helm as wide receiver 1. I wouldn't be surprised within the next 2 to 3 years if CeeDee Lamb is not on the Cowboys.
Yeah, moving on to another team so he can be the number 1 again. Because when CD is on. The kid is one of the top 3 or 4 receivers in the league.
Absolutely.
But last year, the year before, I mean, if you look at it, it's
declining
really
numbers.
declining numbers and a lot of drops, honestly.
A lot of drops, bro.
So who's your second wide receiver?
Yeah, Frankie, another guy. Actually, I took him in your league,
Yeah.
and some injuries are starting to catch up with him, especially just going into his 3rd year. But, man, you got to let Giants wide receiver Malik Neighbors slide, man.
Oh, Malik. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talking about him, too.
So,
he might not even be ready for week 1.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. So this is a no-brainer, especially with the Yahoo ADP of 24. That puts him in the 2nd round, especially in 12-man leagues.
Oh, yeah.
He's still recovering from a torn ACL and meniscus from this past season, and he even recently had a procedure to remove scar tissue in his knee, which currently makes his week 1 availability, like you just said, uncertain.
Yeah.
I'm actually hearing he could miss the first 4 to 5 games as well.
I mean, you don't want to rush him back. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the thing.
His talent,
he's unbelievable.
and with that high of an ADP, that's too much of a reach, obviously. Also, with the new coaching regime, former Ravens head coach John Harbaugh, he plans to implement a run-first approach, which could also slow things down
good
for
running
him.
backs.
That's what I mean. But it could slow things down for him, especially coming back from that kind of injury and being a little rusty. The Giants also loaded up their wide receiver room with likes of Darnell Mooney, Calvin Austin, Juju Smith-Schuster, and even Odell Beckham Jr. And I know those guys are a lot of 2s and 3s and some 4s.
Yeah,
but
I mean, the names are big, but Mooney's been pretty good, consistent. And
Right.
you know you're going to get from him.
But that depth could potentially limit his workload once he comes back as well. I still think Neighbors has insane potential, like I was talking about, especially after the numbers he put up his rookie year. But this injury and new coaching regime and system could spell disaster for fantasy managers drafting him in the 2nd round. I'd let him slide. More of a gamble to take him in the 2nd, in my opinion. I think you wait. If you could see him mid-3rd, I mean, if he falls to the 4th, you better take him.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, who are you taking for your 2nd wide receiver?
I got to go Cortland Sutton.
Sutton,
Obviously, for
another
obvious
loaded
reasons.
wide receiver
You know what I mean?
room.
That's what I mean. They just trade for Jalen Waddle, and Waddle's going to take the number 1 job, obviously, in my opinion.
Yep.
They have plenty of other weapons there. Almost too many weapons. It's kind of crazy. You don't know who's going to go off
Franklin's
that week.
even a good
I'm
receiver.
saying they got some good players there. You know what I mean? Even depth at tight end. They have running backs depth. Like, I mean, they got a good team. Broncos are going to be good. So I feel like Sutton in the 7th round, 74th overall. It's just, I just don't see it. He's been consistent. He had a really good season. 2 years ago, and last year he was really good too. But I just can't imagine with Waddle there now, him putting up the same, anywhere close to those numbers. I mean, if he's there in like the 9th or something, 10th, but there's people I'm taking in front of Cortland that are going later. So that's kind of where I'm looking at with Cortland Sutton. Just again, Waddle and just how loaded they are there. You know what I
agree.
So,
I agree totally.
why don't we jump over to tight end? Who you got at tight end?
So this dude, Frankie, he's been a dog and everything. You know, the model tight end consistency and all that stuff. He's dealt with some injuries, but right now getting up there in age and slowing down a bit, I'm going to have to say you got to let 49ers tight end George Kittle take a bit of a
I've
dip.
seen them falling a little bit in drafts too.
So Kittle has been pretty dominant tight end for the majority of his career, having no less than 6 touchdowns the last 5 seasons. But after only playing in 11 games last season and suffering a torn Achilles in the wild card round, things don't look too promising for Kittle this year. Another concern is the man, like I just said, is turning 33, entering his 10th NFL season. And Achilles injuries can severely impact mobility and burst. Obviously, 2 traits Kittle will need to succeed. He's also part of a crowded offense where target share will be harder to come by, especially with the additions of Mike Evans and Christian Kirk. Never mind Christian McCaffrey, you know what I'm saying? I think he's still a great red zone threat as a tight end, but that injury at that age and a crowded offense doesn't look appealing to fantasy managers. Definitely proceed with caution. Not saying he's not going to do anything next year. Obviously, when he comes back, he's going to be a vital piece of that offense.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, with that injury, that age, man, especially the guys they already got over there, just be careful where you draft him.
Of course, absolutely. But yeah, I agree. It's anybody coming off injury, you got to be really wary.
Especially at 30-something years old, bro.
Yeah, of course. And he's been getting injured more and more.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm actually going Harold Fanning.
Wow.
I know he went crazy last year.
Okay.
They do have a new coach, Todd Monken. He was the OC for the Ravens. That doesn't scare me because Mark Andrews was always fairly consistent.
And Isaiah Likely.
Yeah, and Likely was pretty good too. So that doesn't scare me so much as that Deshaun Watson coming back and looking like the number 1 most likely. So his days, obviously, as a Texan, you don't remember many of the tight ends going crazy. It was always the wide receivers having big games, right? So, but if you look at how bad Deshaun Watson's been, right? I actually like it. I would rather see Shedeur Sanders be the quarterback for Harold Fanning.
Same.
Because last year, Fanning had 107 targets, right? A 21.3 target share. Which was crazy. So that's with Shedeur as the quarterback. So it's like if you look at the targets and the target share, it's great. What else scares me is that Cleveland spent 2 top 40 picks on wide receivers. They took Casey Concepcion and they took Denzel Boston. So it's like Is he going to lose some targets with Deshaun? Absolutely. With 2 new receivers that are top 40 picks.
Right.
One, it was 12th overall or something like that. I mean,
fairly high.
High pick in the first round. I mean, yeah. And you have Deshaun Watson coming back. So it's like he's being taken as like the 7th tight end. You got to just really take a look at where he's being drafted.
I like that, actually.
You look at it as like, could he repeat what he did last year? I don't know. He was a surprise. He's not going to surprise people this year.
Right. It's one of those things. Could have a sophomore slump.
Again, I think he's nasty.
I do too.
But again, it depends who your quarterback is, honestly, is how I'm looking at it. So
Absolutely.
It's like, plus I feel like they're going to be pretty awful. So
he built, like you said, he built a chemistry with Shador Sanders. So obviously that changes.
Looking for him every day.
Who knows how Deshaun will be with him?
That's why he's like
whole new team, coach.
That's with me. It's like you got to really take a look where you get him. If you're banking on him being your starter, it's a boomer bust type thing.
Absolutely.
He could go crazy, but he could also be much worse than you think.
Right.
I like Shador starting with him. So why don't we jump over to the defense? What you got for defense?
So Frankie, you were just talking about that team, and I'm gonna be bringing up the Browns defense.
The Browns.
Avoid them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring up why.
Of course.
So the Browns were a top defensive unit last season, number 4th overall and 3rd in pass defense. But regardless of an easy schedule, which they do have this year, I'm not a fan of how this defense will look at all, brother. For starters, and the most obvious, they traded defensive end Myles Garrett to the Rams, and without him drawing double teams, that will make things harder, even for the newly acquired Jared Verse, who is a dog. But to create any consistent mismatches, man, you don't have that one guy who's getting double teamed constantly. That's where the mismatches are made, obviously. A weaker defensive line also forces guys like cornerback Denzel Ward to cover receivers longer, increasing the likelihood of giving up big plays. And in a new system, terrible offensive production, which leads to terrible field position, and defensive fatigue from frequent 3-and-outs, forcing the defensive back on the field. With short rest, fantasy appeal for the Browns defense will take a huge dip, and so will their season numbers, but you never know. I do know this, though. I won't be drafting them. Still can't believe they traded Myles Garrett too, Frankie. I mean, Browns, I'm telling you right now, they ain't even going to be a top 10 defensive unit this year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't think Jared Verse alone is going to be taking them over the top.
No, absolutely not. So, I mean, I have a couple that I'm kind of like, where they're going, I'm not a huge fan of, but the real one is like Seattle. Seattle's defense is phenomenal. It's being taken as the 2nd defense.
They lost a few guys.
Well, it's more the schedule, Super Bowl hangover. The division's obviously very tough with the Rams putting up points, but they have the 11th hardest schedule this year. Last year they had a much easier schedule. They lost some guys. It's going to be a Super Bowl hangover. And then in the same division, the Rams. I know they got Myles Garrett, but now they have the 5th hardest schedule. So they're getting taken as like the 6th, 7th overall defense. So it's like, again, some of those games just against each other, there was a ton of points put up, right? Against Seattle versus the Rams. So some of those guys you really got to look at. I think the Rams, people are going to be picking the Rams for that hype for the Myles Garrett going there, obviously. So there's going to be teams like reaching on that. You just got to be careful on that because they have the 5th hardest schedule this year. They had a much easier schedule last year. And that division looks really strong again. 49ers are fully healthy almost. It's like, Kittle, as long as Kittle comes back healthy. But that division is going to be really scary and points are going to be put up. So it's like,
it's going to be tough for Seattle.
Those two teams in general, you just second defense. Can Seattle repeat like what they did last year? I don't know. Much harder schedule this year. So
yes, sir, Frankie.
I love it.
So we'll see what happens, brother. But like I said, man, obviously a lot of those guys are going to get drafted, but you just got to be careful.
Yeah, just where you get them, of course. Every one of these guys are going to get drafted. It's just where you pick them up.
That's right, brother.
So another great show, another great live round. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing, all that, and good luck in your fantasy drafts.
Absolutely.
And you know what I mean? Like it's just right around the corner. You know what I mean? It's going to be great. So
Odysseus, don't you remember?
Remember
what?
What?
Yeah.
What? Frankie, finish your lines, bro.
Again, good luck, everyone. Thank you.
Fantasy football, man.
Like and subscribe, and you guys are the best. And
Thunder. Fire. Death. Boston's Banter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boston's bit. The death part kind of scared me,
I don't
Frankie,
like
but
that
I mean,
part,
they're at
but-
least shouting out the show and everything, whatever that was.
That's awesome.
And Frankie, I know the name Odysseus, and I'm sure I know what it is, but how about you break it down?
You know what it is. The Odyssey. Gonna be a great movie. This is a long movie, too. I heard it was like 4 hours almost.
All-star cast,
yeah,
bro.
this cast is unbelievable.
You know
I'm
what
going to
I'm
see
saying?
this. This looks dope.
Hear that, bro?
Yeah.
Okay, so every time this happens, man, something gets up with the room.
Yeah, the room never stays right.
Like you just said, dude, the room can never stay clean, bro. It gets fixed and then this happens.
Every time.
Frankie, we gotta do something about this. Let's get up on out of here, bro.
From Bean Town to your town, stay wicked Pissah.
Foxborough to your bro. Thanks for listening, everybody. We're gonna see you next week. Frankie, we gotta do something about this. Let's do it, bro.